The Livelihood Improvement Family Enterprises Niger-Delta Life ND intervention in Abia State is progressively enacting the blueprint of the project. This is the success story of Abia Life ND Cassava Production Training Program. Dr. Uchenna Roland Onyezu, the Abia State Project Coordinator, gave an insight on the success story of cassava production in the ongoing project.
Cassava production, rice production, poultry production, and oil palm production. And for each of these agro-enterprises, we are also looking at the entire value chain of each of those agro-enterprises. For cassava production, we are doing pretty okay. We started with some communities that have provided land that we are trying to cultivate and harvest cassava from those areas.
Dr. Onyezu also gave insight on the bottlenecks he and his team encountered while approaching community stakeholders for provision of land for cassava production.
Initially, like I earlier mentioned, we had a challenge of land availability by the communities that had already promised us of land. And once we got to this stage of acquiring those lands, we encountered a lot of challenges that has made us not to go ahead with their land, of which the state government, through the governor of the state, Governor Cassava, when I made those complaints to him, had to intervene and was able to make available lands that belong to the state government within the communities that we work on. So as we speak, within Nsulu Gens village, we had 15 hectares of land.
After securing the available hectares of land for the cassava production, work commenced according to the blueprint of Life ND project. The State Rural Infrastructural Officer, Mr. Chukwumobi Otutuibike, brought us to speed on how the work progressed.
The progress of work so far. This project was awarded to the two contractors on the 5th of June, on the 5th of October 2021. Each contractor is handling 15 hectares. So for the two contractors, they are doing 30 hectares. If you can think back, during the plague of this place was a thick forest, but you can see the product of hard work, how Life ND project has been able to transform this place now into a highly arable land for cassava production cluster. The land clearing has been done perfectly, 100% completed. We are now in the stage of plowing, harrowing, and then ridging.
After clearing the land, Mr. Adeyemi Olujede, Life ND agronomic expert, was on ground for the best agronomic practices, which guided the incubatees on the planting of the cassava stems. After the planting, it was monitored to grow well, also applying the best agronomic practice for great harvest. Ebuka Stanley, a cassava production incubatee of Abia Life ND, speaks on the progressive training he has received from the cassava production and processing.
We are into cassava flour and starch. It's a process that requires one to be attentive to understand how it goes from the processing to the marketing stage. Now, I've learned a lot from Born Foods here, and I believe that in the non-distant future, I will own a small processing plant of my own. Life ND has really changed my life. Before now, I wasn't into anything, but Life ND has given me something to look up to, and I believe that with Life ND, soon I will become an employee of labor.
It was also testified that the incubators also conducted themselves orderly to learn.
The incubatees that are with us, they are doing very well, and on our own side, we have tried to impart on them to make sure they can know how to process cassava into fufu.
I'm an incubator with Life ND. I have 9 incubatees working under me, and they'll be well trained. I can assure you that if you give them any factory to run, they can run it perfectly.
Harvesting facilities where the incubatees for cassava production are undergoing training is of standard and helped in the success story of cassava production.
We are working on 4 agro-commodities. Apart from the cassava story or the cassava successes, we also have the poultry production. And as we speak, we have been able to, as of the last 2 weeks, had the last set of the last cycle in which the incubatees stay within the incubation center. So as we speak, they are due for graduation, and they are expected to graduate and get established on their own. So we've empowered a lot of young persons across the state on different agro commodities, and we're excited to say that we are not hitting our drums, but we've made a lot of impact, and our incubatees, who are already our direct beneficiaries, can speak more to that. But I thank God, and I'm excited and I'm happy to be associated with this level of successes.
The Life ND project is being funded by the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD. The project is ongoing in the 9 Niger-Delta States of Nigeria. Also involved in the project are the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, and the United Nations.